Okay, listen up, everyone. My girlfriend just came in here, and well, she basically told me that I've been talking to myself for how long has it been? I don't know. For half an hour. Thank you, baby. I'm very happy that you came and told me. Yeah, it's okay. Yeah. So I'm gonna get to this and say hello and welcome, everyone. Oh, I've been sitting here talking for 30 minutes, and I haven't been realizing that you couldn't see me. I'm so dumb. Oh God. I've already went through like half of my bullet points here, and so that's great. And and the fun thing is that I've been answering comments here and talking about that. And there's this thing someone wrote, when should we send out the search party? And I'm like, what does that mean? I have no idea. It just hit me now that my girlfriend came in and said, like, are you sure it's going out, honey? Because I can't see anything in your stream, but I can hear you talking. You've been talking for half an hour. You've been talking a lot. And yeah, that's like Samuel Lindemann säger, det är sånt som händer. That's Swedish for that shit happens. Hello and welcome to Jakob haQ Live. We are finally live for real this time. And even though I've been talking for half an hour, I'm going to try to go back and introduce this episode. So, in this episode, I wanted to talk about stuff that is missing. I was missing for a while there, half an hour it seems, but I'm not missing anymore. Okay, I need to move past that. I need to move past that. So, a lot of the times when I talk to a lot of you, hello and welcome by the way, everyone. Um, there's a lot of talk about whether you can do pro like work on iOS or not. And in many cases, I would say that it's not a problem. You can do pro like work, and it depends on how you define it. Uh, and I just, how do I find my composure after this? I feel so ridiculous, everyone. I'm so sorry. So, how do you guys, everyone in the chat, define pro like work? Do you feel like you can do pro like work? Because when we're talking pros, then we can talk about pros in two different ways. There is pro professional as a profession, like being a music producer as a profession, video editor as a profession means that you're working and you're making money of it. That's your main income. And then there are pros who have a like workflow that does pretty much kind of the same stuff that people who have music production as a profession, they have the same workflows. And I mean, even if they aren't making money of it, it's still a professional workflow. And for a professional workflow, in order to have that, you need to have certain tools, and your tools need to have certain functions. And a lot of people seem to think that some of these functions are missing, especially on, yeah, I love you too, thank you so much, um, missing on the iOS platform. And I can tell you right away that I think there's a lot of stuff missing. And whenever I talk about stuff like this, it's usually related to Cubasis. My most loved app also has some of the most missing features, I think. So, in Cubasis, for instance, one thing that I always did on the big sister version of Cubasis, which is Cubase, that I used on desktop, I was using, I was sampling a lot. And whenever I sampled, I wasn't using a sampler, I was just sampling inside the sequencer window, like right here. And one thing I did all the time was fades. Okay, whether it was drum sounds or whether it's like vocals, anything, if I was doing stuttering synths, I would cut it up and remove bits and pieces from it so I could get the stuttering type of pattern I wanted. And then I did fades. And every time I did fades, I right clicked, so I got a list of different fades that I could do, different slopes, and I would choose one that were logarithmic or something like that. And you can't do that. I mean, I don't think you can do that in most DAWs. There are some DAWs that will allow you to do some dots, like write dots and write your own, and those are good. Uh, does ZenBeats do that? I can't remember. Do ZenBeats do that? I think ZenBeats do that. That's one good thing, like really good thing. But that's just one piece of the puzzle. There are even more stuff now that I think are missing, or more stuff, same stuff always. I mean, if we talk about the ability of being able to just internally route outputs from channels to an input of another channels. Why would you want to do that? Well, sometimes you need that in order to do certain stuff. And there's this other thing that you can't do. I've been working on a vocoder video for a very long time. It's been going on for over a year, but now I'm finally at a stage where I feel like I can really do it. And it was going to become a big list, listing all of the vocoders on iOS, and I then changed that idea down to a kind of a top list. But it's not just me doing a list, it's more than that. I'm talking how a vocoder works. I'm talking about all kinds of stuff, and then doing comparisons. I'll even play you a little bit later on so you can hear. But I've been teasing it on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. If you're following me there, you probably heard some stuff. So yeah. And one thing that I noticed, well, one thing that I got me really upset was that I had to do this workaround with one of the apps, because one of the apps is audio unit only. And when you're loading an audio unit vocoder into the effect slot of Cubase's, there is no way of sending a MIDI channel, the output of a MIDI channel, to that plugin. Not even if you're loading the MIDI version of that vocoder. The MIDI version, like some of these audio units come as the effect part, and then some of them come like a MIDI effect part. And when you want to do MIDI stuff, you load the MIDI effect part. It doesn't do that. Cubasis just cannot route stuff like that. And so I have to do this contrived workaround where I load up that plugin in AUM in the background. And now I'm using up more resources in a project on my iPad, which is already bogged down with all of the stuff I already have inside the project. That to me is not a pro workflow. I want to be able to do it right here inside Cubasis. I have more stuff to talk about, but I want to check the chat because I've been reading the chat and I didn't realize for half an hour that you couldn't hear me. I want to say hello and welcome to everyone who has joined up here at Jakob Live. And thank you so much for being patient enough to wait half an hour for me to realize I hadn't started the stream. Glenn Allen asks, sound card, is that term still used? Get a good DAC, just like one on desktop, only limit is iPad OS is 96 kHz. Yeah, and a lot of people tell me that they're a deal breaker for them is not being able to do maybe 96 kilohertz recording in 32-bit float. And here's the thing, out of all the music I've ever released in my life, I have never recorded anything in any higher format than 2448 or 2448. And on iOS, I recorded 44.1. And when I release stuff, I release it at 1644.1. And so far, none of the people that have bought my music has complained at that. So, I mean, I don't know what type of music you make, but if you're working for the industry, you are going to need that headroom. You're going to need that lower noise floor. You're going to need a higher resolution. Definitely. I get that. And what decides that is your interface. Definitely. Like, get a good interface. Let a good sound interface. We don't say sound card anymore because It's not a card in a computer like we used to do in the past when we built computers. You put a card into the PCI slot. Now it's an interface. I mean, everything is connected with USB, so I don't think most of us use sound card as a term anymore. We use just sound interface or MIDI interface or sound and MIDI interface. So if you have a good sound interface, you can get that high, but you can't. So far, I haven't been able to find a sound interface that is compatible with iOS that can do 32-bit float, because you need a lot of power for that. That's big, and it all depends on what you're doing. I mean, some of the most loved music in the world is stuff that people listen to today, and that stuff was recorded when you only had like 16 bits and maybe lower, 32 kilohertz. A lot of people seem to like the music I make with the pocket operators, and they always get so super shocked when I say that these these have a really low resolution. This is an 8-bit ULAW device, 22 kilohertz. All right, and same with the samplers. And people will get shocked. Even the people using these on a regular basis get shocked over that. Why? Why? I mean, it all depends on what you're doing. If you need high definition stuff, then yes, you need high definition stuff. But if you're sampling, for instance, and you're sampling stuff from vinyl, do you need 32-bit float, 96 kilohertz? No, you don't. You could do with 16 bits 44.1 or 24 bits 48, like the ADAT standard. You could do with that. So how do you work? What do you need? Like, I mean, my all of my sound interfaces that I've ever had, they're able to do 2496, I think. Even the Behringer one that I'm no longer showing on my videos, even that one could do that. I don't know what you're using. What are you using? 48 still standard for video? Here's the thing. I don't know what the standard is for video anymore. I don't know. I mean, I all of my audio is 44.1, and I always make sure that I leave enough headroom for YouTube, because every social platform will compress your audio in certain ways. So there's no need to loudness, like super loudness. Can I even say that? That's bad English. There's if you do the super loudness thing on your audio, and you send that to Instagram or YouTube or Facebook, then the algorithm is gonna just squash it down and lower it even more, and you might end up sounding you might end up with less volume, feeling like there's less volume than you have with other tracks that don't do that, that leave more dynamics inside their audio, that do not just over squash and over pump everything. And that's how I do it. I keep it very, very. I will not make. If my audio files will never look just like a big thick white box. When it looks like that, it YouTube will destroy your audio. Instagram will destroy your audio. I always leave a bit of headroom when I master my stuff. And so far it sounded okay, but what I have noticed is, for instance, on Cubase, on YouTube, YouTube, after it's done with this, with whatever algorithm it's using, there's always a little bit more sub bass in my music. So I always have to think about that. So I do a mix for YouTube, and if I don't do that, it will sound as if there's too much bass. Nutrix is here. Hello, Nutrix. For video, I use 40K mixed at minus 13 LUFS for YouTube. Okay, right. I don't even have a proper, analyzer where I get that reading. I always just go by ear. And that's the thing. Ever since I went over to iOS, I've just grown accustomed to not having all the tools I used to have on desktop. There's so many things that I'm missing. Like, of course I would love to be able to see LUFS inside here. I would love to see that. That's one thing that is missing in order for this to feel professional. I would like to have a good reading here. I would like to see my peak levels. Um, sure, you can always buy apps that will do that for you, right? You could do that. But it would be nice if that was implemented into the DAW you're working with. So it's stuff like that I feel are missing in order for it to go pro. Yeah, no analyzer. Yeah. And the same thing there. People will say, hey, just use a third party analyzer. Here's the thing. The reason to why I use mostly plugins and stuff inside the DAWs that I'm working from is because they're always optimized to take less resources. So if you load, for instance, let's say Rough Rider 3 from Audio Damage, which is it's a great compressor. You load that, and that's going to take more resources than if I would use the compressor inside Cubasis, which actually does the job quite well. Now, if I wanted to color the sound a certain way, then of course, if I wanted the color that Audio Damage's Rough Rider 3 gives, because it does actually color the sound. If you've ever, you should try that. Just measure it with a spectrum analyzer, run a square waveform through there and see what happens with the square waveform clean, and then run it through Rough Rider. You will see slight distortion on top of the square waveform, and it does color it and makes it sound warmer. That's what it does. I think it over amplifies it a little bit or something. It definitely colors it. Um, and if you need that, you're going to use that. But if you don't need it and you just need something to keep something in check, in line, then a built-in compressor works best. And that's why I would love to have some spectrum analyzers or visualization inside the mixer. I wouldn't mind if the mixer would stretch up higher and have a little box over each and every one of them, and having these windows be optimized to run on as little resources as possible, because then I can still do my job without having to jump through hoops, having to jump between apps and open different plugin windows. I mean, if you load a plugin window in this thing, I want to check the analyzer here, and then I want to use an equalizer. Okay, so I have to open the equalizer window instead, and now I'm losing the visualization from the spectrum analyzer. It's annoying. It's really annoying. It's stuff like that. If you're working inside AUM, you can have two windows open, and then again, you could always, of course, run something like let's see here, FabFilter Pro Q3, for instance. Is it loading? Yeah. If you load this one, you're gonna get. Come on, I'll just mute this channel. If you're loading this one, you're gonna get all of it at the same time. What? Why am I still hearing it? I don't understand. Why am I still hearing it? Oh, I muted the wrong one. Right, I just pull down the volume here. That's what I wanted to do. So in FabFilter, you're getting this spectrum, and you can equalize at the same time, and that's what I love with this. The problem is these are resource hungry, so it's going to take a lot of power, and I might use one or two of these, but for some channels I just need a little bit of equalizer, and then I use Cubasis equalizers because they're optimized, don't take that many processors. You see, it's always a constant workaround. And of course, I could probably do something about that if I got a newer iPad. Yeah, I don't know. Let's see here. You have LUFS in the FabFilter plugin. Yeah, of course. Put it in on the master out. Yeah, and that's the thing, Nutrix. I do that. I do put it there, but then I hit a wall with the CPU, and even if I bounced a lot of stuff, I might be at a project state where I don't want to mess with anything else, and I still have to save resources. What happens is I always end up removing this from here, and it's stuff like that. It would be nice to have something built in, something optimized. But I definitely hear you. Yeah, it's a good idea, of course, putting it on the master out. I mean, then you will always be able to monitor it. The request to have an analyzer in the Cubasis built-in plugins has been on the list since Cubasis 1.0 and will likely never come. Samuel says that we don't know. We don't know. We can always hope. But yeah, I'm starting to get the same feeling here. Is there normal multibander already in Cubasis? Normal multibander. Are you talking about a multiband compressor? Because there are no multiband compressor in Cubasis. No, and that's something that is also quite needed. At least a three channel, a three band one would be nice. Let's see here. Let's also not forget that iPad OS is still very new. We're on the beginning. Yeah, I mean, how many years are we? If you think about it, let's see here. What is that guy's name who started making music really early on iOS? I have him listed in my videos. All right, I'll see here. I have him listed in my videos. Let's go to Jakob Live. And we go. I'll go to this video. Let's see here. And we'll see down here. Smite Matter. Smite Matter. That guy has been doing iOS music making for a long time. What is it? I don't know. 12 years more. I mean, he was early. He started doing it really, 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 really early. Before there was even anything like Audiobus or even Jack or anything like that. He was doing iOS music. And now several years in, me myself, I've been doing it for like 6 or 7 years, and a lot of things have happened. Everything from going into the Audiobus era to the AU era, and now I would say we're in the multi AU multi-out era. And now I actually think that stuff like this in the DAWs that we're talking about, like fade slopes and being able to route stuff internally, I think stuff like that needs to be they need to start working on that. It's annoying being able to route MIDI to effect slots. Of course, would be really nice. I mean, of course, you can modulate stuff already, but it's not modulation I'm talking about. I mean, as in the case of me loading up a vocoder and not being able to send MIDI to it because it's in an effect slot inside Cubasis. That's really annoying. Jacob, the new update has the master effects, which has multi-band compression. Really? Oh, I didn't know that. Have I forgotten to update? Is that it? Have I been so occupied with video work I have missed this thing? Are you serious? Samuel, tell me. Jesus. Bouncing L2 on the master adds latency, so it's not useful for loop creation. Yeah, I mean, Samuel, what I usually do if I want to do like bounce like perfect loops inside Cubasis and stuff, I will turn certain stuff on if I don't need it there, or I will just go into the settings now that you have in there, and you can actually activate. Let's see here, settings, and you can activate that it does the exports in real time. Where is it? In Mixdown here. Um, where is it? Audio unit mixdown compatibility mode, real time mixdown and freeze. So if you're activating this when you're freezing stuff and when you're mixing down stuff, it will do it in real time. And sometimes I have to do that because when I'm using certain IAP in-trap audio units, I will get some weird lags and stuff happening too, especially when I'm using vocoders and stuff. And so I always activate this and I do a real-time recording. Even on desktop with Cubase, I would route an output from a thing to an input and record it in real time, just so I wouldn't get any kind of artifacts in there, because when you're having a system and a project with so many things in it, it might tax the system and you get glitches and pops, and it's not fun. There's even a YouTube video on it from Steinberg. Okay. Okay, I'm gonna check it out. I'm not gonna complain about that anymore. But is that only for the master output? It's not for the rest of the channel strip? Cubasis 2 beats the crap out of Cubasis 3 for performance. I sent them videos 2 months ago, no response yet. Jamie Malander, by the way, everyone. Jamie Malander has a YouTube channel, and you should check it out. I like your music, Jamie. I've been watching your stuff, Oh, I should probably go back and hit some thumbs up. I always keep on forgetting to do that, even though I ask people to do that for for my channel. But Jamie, I'll start putting your link into the description boxes of my videos so that people can go check you out because I think you're doing great stuff. So what more is it here? Let's see here. I mean, we are mentioning desktop and Mac and stuff, and I know some of you are working off Mac. I mean, Tony Stark, I almost said, not Tony Stark. Tony, you're if you're still here, you work on Mac, don't you? I mean, do you ever like if you're still here? If you maybe I should wait until you tell me if you're still here. Yeah. We got Vol RTB Studios. I'm just gonna call you RTB in the future. Hello. Have you missed the answer? No, you haven't missed the answer. And you know, there's several answers to this because there's several things missing. So I'll do a quick recap. I've been talking about specific stuff for Cubasis, not being able to route MIDI from MIDI channels to a vocoder loaded in an FX slot in Cubasis, even when you've got the MIDI version of it loaded, is a chore. That is horrible. I have to work around and do it with AUM. Not being able to select different fade slopes for the fades in audios on audio tracks is missing some sort of built-in optimized visualization for the mixer, maybe, so you can see some spectrums or stuff, so you won't have to load a bunch of other plugins just to do that if you don't want to. We've been talking about internal multi-routing, being able to route stuff from the mixer outputs from the tracks to the inputs of other tracks. That's another pro feature missing. We've been talking about resolution, but that's tied to sound interfaces. I did talk about 32-bit float, 96 kilohertz recordings, and how we're not really able to do that here, but we're able to do 24 kilobit recordings in 96 kilohertz if you have a sound card, or hey, I did it, sound card. For if you have a sound interface that does that. That's what we've been talking about so far, and we're still talking about it. And also, RTB, what you didn't miss, what a good thing you did miss was everyone in the chat was sitting here waiting for half an hour before I turn on the stream, because there's two buttons. You have one for OBS that starts streaming the video to YouTube, but then you have to press go live on YouTube, and I forgot to do that. So my girlfriend came in and said, "You're not live, baby. You've been talking to yourself for half an hour." So that's something you missed. I really just wish RIM would do a massive iPad OS update to Aria. Give Steinberg a real competitor and more pro tools like. Yes, yes. A lot of people who have been asking me, is there a Pro Tools kind of deal for iOS? And I would say also that Aria is the closest thing. And I didn't know that Aria Pro. Are you talking about both Aria and Aria Pro? Don't mention it, Jamie. Don't mention it. I love promoting other channels. You don't need to mention it. I love doing that. There's no need. You don't even need to promote me on your channel. Don't feel like you owe me anything. I just want to promote people who are doing good things on YouTube. Let's see here. You think with iOS 14 and Mac OS Big Sur, the upcoming Macs with the A12Z chips, we'll start seeing more cross-platform apps, Logic, Pro Tools, Ableton Live. Yeah, we did actually discuss this in the last live stream, and I was mentioning Logic and how I was kind of certain that they wouldn't put Logic on iOS. Just wait, don't lose your shit. Don't lose your shit. I definitely didn't think that Apple would ever do anything like that, because if you look at GarageBand, it kind of looks Logic-y, you know, with the looks, kind of. And I've felt that that's what they're going for iOS. They wouldn't put Logic on iPad or on iOS. But now I'm not so sure. Okay, after the announcement at WWDC 2020 from Apple, and the highlights at the end with the ARM processor and everything that you're talking about, yeah, I'm not too sure. I'm not too sure if that won't happen. That might actually happen, and it would be a good thing, you know, to do cross-platform things. But then we get into other problems, talking about app prices and sustainability for some developers, and how bigger companies are able to offset what they're losing on selling apps because they're already selling more expensive stuff, or more costly stuff on desktop, maybe hardware, and third-party developers who are smaller might not be able to have the resources to do that, but they're already selling apps that cost less on iOS, and now if they can put it on desktop, which is also an extra step they have to do because more programming, because more work. I don't know what's going to happen. It's a really interesting thing to talk about, and we'll see. And I've started reaching out to plugin companies, especially plugin companies. I haven't written FabFilter yet. I'm trying to formulate my email to them because I want to know what they think about how weird it might become now that you will be able to run basically iOS apps on Mac, and how weird that is because the apps on iOS and on Mac for FabFilter are basically the same. They have the same functionality. The only thing we haven't been able to use is the side chaining, but we can do that now in AUM because AUM has implemented multi AU routing, so that's not possible. So if you're using AUM, you're getting the full experience with the FabFilter's plugins. And so on iOS you pay very little, and on desktop you pay a lot. You get the full suite for the price that is like less of what one of these plugins cost on desktop. How weird is it gonna become for them? I want to know. I think we all want to know what they have to say, if they want to say something. Jamie says, I was a beta tester recently for Aria Pro, but it was so frustrating. It is so unreliable and I lost so much time I had to stop using it. Yeah, Jamie, I've never been able to befriend that app. I've tried. I'm just going to pause this here because it's taking up bandwidth for no reason. I've never been able to do it, even though I've been trying, both with GarageBand and Aria for the past, 5 years. And I just can't befriend it because of the interfaces. There's nothing wrong with the apps; they're good. But if you're testing it and you're telling me that it's crashing all the time, that's not good. That's not a good look. No, that's not good. Developers need a host on iOS, iPadOS that fully supports all features, and Logic could provide that. Yeah, I would agree with you, Samuel. Call me unique. Hello, call me unique. You've been in the chat for a while, I think. With the big push of hardware that has the ARM processor, I think they will want to convince more people to buy new things with Logic. Yeah, that's definitely an argument you could have. I'm gonna mull that over and see what problems I can come up with when it comes to that, and get back to you on that maybe on the next live stream. I need to think about this one. Imagine Apple would make Logic universal, so free for iPad if you have a Mac version and vice versa. Yeah, that's something that a lot of people are hoping on, especially with apps in general now, I think. And that might be good for consumers, but it might also be very bad for developers. It might be good for developers in the way that you're getting your brand out to more people easily, but the value of their apps are then getting downgraded too, and then suddenly how do they cut their losses? Are we then gonna see a lot of subscriptions in every app instead? In every app? Are we then gonna see a lot of in-app purchases that might not make sense? I mean, there's always a cost for free, you know? Nothing is really for free. So I am always worried when someone tells me like, hey, this is for free. And usually when something is for free, it's freemium because everything costs something. There are some resources out there that are free, actually, but right now I can't think of them. Last time I did a video on free apps, a lot of developers, they saw that people were downloading their apps, so they started charging for them, so they're no longer free. And good on them. I'm happy if my video could make them some money. I don't have a problem with that. Let's see here. You also have to think about people not using the newest iPad, and that's the thing also. And then we're talking about compatibility here, Sasha, because with my iPad Pro 12.9 inch from 2015, uh, leaves a lot to be desired when I'm working with heavy projects. My iPad Mini 1 here is basically serving as a either a thing I use with one instance of Figure or Loopy on it, or as my face cam, basically. And my iPad Mini 2 is still very usable, even for doing some shorter videos, but it's starting to get really laggy with stuff and laggy graphics in Cubases when I'm got heavy projects. Let's see here. I'm trying to catch up with the chat. Aditya, Aditya, I'm probably saying your name wrong. I'll just call you Rama. So Rama says, I'm sure I'm not the only one who's thinking about this, but Core Gadget plus AUV3. Rama, listen. Everyone is thinking about that. Everyone wants that. And we've been asking about that ever since AUV3 got introduced. Like, we've been screaming our heads off at Korg. And I think the biggest problem that Korg has is that they're trying to find an economical solution in order to pay the team, because there's a whole team of, what is it, like 10 people or something working on Core Gadget only, alone. And Korg, they definitely want to not have any losses when it comes on the app side. So they've been going on doing this in-app purchase thing. And if they start doing AUV3s, they have to make sure that that works in a way, because as it is right now, the gadgets have a certain look and AUV3s have a certain size. You can make full-size, Windows-sized AUV3s. You can. But it will actually mess with design, and these guys are very, very picky with their designs. I know, because I met up with them. I did meet up with the lead designer, and one of the lead developers also, two of them from Korg, and I walked them around Stockholm for a whole day. I've got some pictures up. I think I'm showing some video or something in another video of mine, and it was one of the most fun experiences I've ever had, to talk directly to these Korg guys doing Core Gadget. And it's just, they are picky. They're very good at what they do. They have a certain, what do you call it, like a certain vision of what they want. And so I think at this point, AUV3, they're thinking of it. They might even want it. They just don't know how they're gonna do it, I think. But that's it might be an educated opinion, but it's still just an opinion, and you should not take that as fact, because there's no way I can actually know what's going on, because they wouldn't tell me like the real deal. Like, they won't tell me what's really going on. No company ever does that. Only some third-party developers, guys who I would call loners, they will tell me what they do, and sometimes they do that because they need feedback, because a programmer is a programmer and a user is a user. And then you have guys like me, who people call influencers, even though I hate that. And the way I go through apps is, because of me reviewing apps, I have to go through every app meticulously. So I will find stuff that some people will not find, and these guys want to hear about that, so they will tell me stuff to get stuff from me. So it's really interesting how it works out in the end. We'll see what happens with Core Gadget. Let's see here. Pete Kowalski. Hello, Pete. I'm just a hobbyist and started on a MacBook Pro and still use it primarily. My iPad is new, from 10/7/10. That's October in 2020. What? What? 7/20? Wait, no. What? Pete, you're breaking my mind here. Is it what? You bought it in the future? Am I getting this wrong? Help! Jacob is going berserk. Jacob is going berserk. I'm breaking down. I'm breaking down. Pete, you have broken me. You have broken me with that. You have to explain it to me. How are you able to travel into the future and buy an iPad? I probably read that wrong. I probably read it wrong, but I think it's more fun if I just assume that you did buy it in the future. Because if you did, I want to know how. Let's see here. It's more fun of learning a learning toy for me, but it is at least as fun and goes everywhere. Yeah, and some people are fine using their iPads like that. For me, my iPad is a pro production tool. It's what I use every day to work with, basically, and I do everything on there, whatever I'm doing for my videos. I record and edit and make my videos on there. I record and edit and make my music on there. I publish my music through this thing. I publish my videos through this thing. If I do graphic works, animation, anything, I do all of it on these devices, and that's how I've always done it. Not always, but since I started on iOS. So for me, it's a tool, nothing else but a tool. And I've kind of forgotten back in the days when I used to have fun, just fun. And I think I'm missing, just sitting down, experimenting, making music. I mean, it happens sometimes, but this has kind of turned into a job. And everyone in the chat here knows that when you're doing something on a regular basis and you have to do it, it is a job. It turns into a job, and the fun kind of gets lifted out of it. I mean, it's fun when new apps come, definitely. You brought it in the future. Yes, there is no 10.7 10. Are we talking about iPad sizes here, or are we talking about the future? Pete, did you travel to the future, or did you buy a weirdly sized iPad? Because if you bought that in the future and it's weirdly sized, then that might explain why it's weirdly sized, right? That makes sense. Let's see here. Uh, Rama says, "Thanks, Jakob. That's really good insight for your interest. You got my name right, but Rama works too. Oh, thanks." 10.2 inch. Guess I'm high. Okay, is that it? Is that how it is? That's the way it is. Okay, Pete. I get it. I do. Um, is there is there a uh is there any way I can't. Pete, you destroyed me. Pete, is there any way though also oh god, Pete, you can't do that to me. You can't do that. Is there any way that the forum chat could become a forum to keep connected with your advice and suggestions, subscriptions, and email? Okay, call me unique. Call me unique. Here's the thing. I have had what do you call it? A Discord. I have had a Discord server for a long time, and I keep forgetting about it. And that's the problem. I've been trying to streamline everything I do so that I have time for everything. Time for answering comments, answering emails, and when I say comments, I mean comments on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. I've even removed some social network sites because I didn't have time for them. And I might be removing Facebook in the end because Twitter and Instagram is what I have time for because of the smaller format, and Instagram for moving pictures, and Twitter just for short messages. And I've streamlined my videos, I've streamlined my streaming, I've streamlined everything, but I haven't been able to do the Discord thing. And that's the next thing I'm working on, because I even have a tier for patrons to pay to have a specific patron role on Discord. And no, they haven't yet started yelling at me yet for not being on Discord, but I want to get it all done and get ready to use Discord, and then I will do Discord things for a few hours one day every week. And so that could be like a follow up. I do the live streams for 2 hours or something like that on Wednesdays, and then as a follow up on Friday evenings or something like that, there can be a Discord chat, a Discord chat, and where we can either talk or just write and stuff. So you can, I think you can find Discord link down in the description. It's like an always open invite, and I will go there and start talking with people because a lot of people have joined and I've just completely forgotten about it. there's a reason to why some people just have one thing at a time, like one Twitter account and then one Discord. And I've been trying to do it all at the same time, and it's been bad. I'm gonna get better at it. But yeah, Discord would be the best thing for that. So you're absolutely right. Hello, Andy. Hello, Andy, and thanks for joining. We've been talking about so many things, about what's missing on iOS, basically, and we've talked about everything from audio resolution, you know, 30-bit float, 24-bit, 96 kilohertz. We've been talking about interfaces. We've been talking about not having any fade slopes in Cubasis. You know, internal routing, audio unit multi-out routing, spectral visualizers inside here, core gadget and AUV3. We need that. Like we've been talking about so many things that we think are missing, and it's basically been a reiteration of stuff I've seen for a long time on iPad Musician Group, Audiobus Forum, and if you come up with everything else, anything else, just type it in here because all of this is research, market research, whatever you say, it's gonna go in somewhere, and I'm gonna be analyzing this data. Hello, Ed. Hello, Ed. Hey, Ed. Pete says, Pete, you're not still high, are you, Pete? Okay, sorry, it's the 10.2 7 Gen iPad from 2020, 128 gigabyte, and worked great with everything I've thrown at it. I'm on pain meds. Oh, okay. Oh, okay. Then don't stop with it. Maybe you should just go through with it. Pain meds, kidney stone. Oh, that sounds really, really painful. I've never had it myself, but I've been I've been close to someone who's had it, and mm, I know what that can look like. It's no fun. And I hope you get well soon, all right? I hope that goes through quickly. Samuel says he's still on the iPad Air 2. Yep. And I'm still on the iPad Pro 12.9 inch, the first generation. And what I have been looking at is if I should get the second gen iPad Pro, the one from 2018, or like used one, because then I will be able to get double the double the storage amount than I would get if I would buy one new at 2021 when they come out. But I've been looking at the 11-inch iPads because of the pricing, because it's taking me a long time to save what I have right now, and all of that money is gonna go into the iPad, which is it's gonna have to be worth it. Which I think it's gonna be. I just need to be able to make sure that I'm getting the right one. Join the dark side. iPad Pro 12 in 2018 is a beast. Yeah, it is a beast. And if you look at the 2021, what's different is the RAM. 2 gigabytes more of RAM. The 2018 has 4. The 2020 has 6. And the camera on the back, because the new one has that new camera, double cameras with LiDAR technology. Sick beast. I mean, if there's something that Apple does really good or really well, it is the cameras. There are some Android phones that they do some good cameras too, but Apple really does it well with the cameras. It's insane how well they make cameras. You can do a monthly payment. Yeah, I did think about that, Sasha, but no. I've had a long history of some very, very high debt. Like, I've borrowed a lot of money in my life from shitty companies that will take out some pretty bad rates, okay? Oh, there's this one loan I took many, many years ago that I've been paying for. I had been paying for it for many years, and I was a young guy back then, and I bought something, and I can't even remember when I bought it because I used to have. I'm a sober drug and drug. I'm a sober drug user, sober alcoholic, and I haven't been using ever since I started with iOS, and that's how I'm keeping going. You know, staying sober. But when I was drunk back in the days, I used to do a lot of stupid stuff. So I think that at some point I did take a loan from a company, and I didn't check the fine print. I'll just say that straight out. That's why I always read all the fine print today, all the manuals, everything. I didn't read the fine print, and it turns out that the rates that you would supposed to pay on top of also paying back the loan was 40%. So I paid 40% more, on everything. And they even tried to raise that. And the Swedish government actually stopped them. They stopped loans like that. In Swedish we have a name for it, ockerräntor. Samuel vet vad jag menar. Yeah, it's just awful. And I that was just one loan I had. Then I have my study loan. I had several loans. I had bought several things when I had a like I started drinking badly, and I was losing. I lost jobs. I couldn't stay in a job. I did so many things, and yeah, I started out as a guy that would work and work and work, not go out, not drink, not do this and that, not buy anything extra, and then I'll take all of that money from 3 months, and I'll take all of it, which would be after I paid my rent and my food and everything. I always went and shopped I went with my friend. We drove a car to the store, to this big supermarket, and we paid for food for a whole month always, and sometimes we shared. So I always had everything calculated down to a T. I took all of the money I had left over. So if it was about $800 equivalent, because it's in Swedish kronas over here in Sweden, but let's say I had $800, I would take the $800 and save it. Because maybe I had this synth I was looking at, and it would cost me about $1,600. Then I would save for 2 months all of the money I had and just go and buy it. No, it's okay. Yeah, it's okay. My girlfriend just came in with a big block of tofu, and she's like, "Does this smell right to you?" And I was expecting something like really horrible, like, but no, it's like, let me smell that again. It smells like tofu. It smells like normal tofu, and it's not miscolored or anything like that. No, that's okay. It's probably something else you're smelling. Maybe you shouldn't be. Maybe you shouldn't be farting when you're when you're cooking. Sorry, chat. Sorry. Some people don't like it when I talk about fats. Fats? Farts? Okay. Andy says I gotta make coffee. Pause the video. I'm sorry, you can't do that, Andy. But we'll wait for you. Just go get that coffee. Oh, I would love some coffee right now, but I can only drink 1 cup. If I drink more than that, it's gotten so bad now that my heart rate just, I get heart palpitations. I just can't. But I do love it. Uh, expensive as it's Doug. Expensive. What's talking about here? What's expensive? Oh, you're talking about Patreon. Patreon. Someone made a hole in my bank account. Patron Act. Patron Act. What's going on with Patreon? Is there something weird going on with Patreon that I don't know? Sasha says something about the 2 gigabyte not going for the main. Yeah, okay. So more RAM in your iPad does not mean more resources for apps. It really doesn't, because apps are still limited to 256 megabyte of memory. Okay. And the same goes for sampler apps, and that's why we're not seeing the largest libraries on iOS yet. We're not, because they're limited that way. Okay, the RAM on iOS is not the same as it is on, for instance, Intel or PC. It's not. It's just not. By the way, we already lost half an hour today, and in about 25 minutes I'm gonna have to stop the stream, because then it would be 2 hours. But because my girlfriend is making some funky tofu stew. I don't know what she's doing out there, but she's doing something, and I want to know. I want to have a bite to eat. By the way, is there something you want to like discuss in the next live stream next Wednesday? If there's something you want me to bring up, something a video you want me to check out, you could always come back to this video and do a comment, just, like a proper comment instead of in the chat or whatever. Or you could just tell me over at Twitter or Instagram. I'm Jakob underscore haQ at all of these places. Yeah, so that's pretty much it. Stanky Stew Pete. Stanky Stew, Stanky Stew Pete. That sounds like an like a nickname. Uh, we got good old Harlan Watchtower, and then Stanky Stew Pete. We got Tofu Jacob. Uh, okay, we've gotten so off topic here. If we're gonna get on topic, let's talk about. I did mention talking about. I'm sorry, everyone. I just everything started out bad with me just sitting here talking for half an hour, and then we got Stanky Stew Pete here, making me lose my train of thought. I love you. I love you, Pete. I love you. Just so you know, I'm not complaining. I'm having fun. All right. Yeah, I call me unique. I hope the PayPal works. If it's my PayPal you're talking about, I hope it works because I've been writing it wrongly. At some places I've been writing PayPal.com or something. Wait, I gotta check this out myself. Am I using the right address? If it's mine. If it's not mine, don't worry about it. But I just need to check because I've had this same person donate to me 2 times, and he told me that um, I'm still using the wrong link. PayPal.me. Yes, exactly. I think that's the right one because I've been having www.paypal.com.me/Jacob, and that's the wrong one. And I've had that. I've had to change that on so many videos. I don't know if I've caught all of them yet. I do things like this all the time. I don't know if I've fixed the outro splash screen in my videos. So, what are we talking about? We're talking about what's missing on the iOS platform. I think we've gotten through some good points, and you know what? Let's do a part two of this in the future. Maybe in a few months. Maybe stuff has changed. Maybe something has happened. Maybe something more will come out from all of this with Apple and integration, and stuff like that. Yeah. So, what I will do is right now, what I'll do, I think I'll play something from my library for you. All right. So it's a little sneak peek here. Here I've got some material I've been working on for the vocoder video. Um, and yesterday I put out a little video where I did this.
Hello, you, and welcome to Hack Attack. My name is Jakob haQ. I'm your host, and you're watching Hack Attack.
That is the, if you've ever heard the Daft Punk song, that is actually the melody from there, and I'm using this in a few segments, and I'm actually doing it with several vocoders here. And it's incredible how different these vocoders all sound. This is going to be such an interesting episode, really, because when it comes to highlighting what they all do good, ooh, there's a lot, and some of them don't do certain things that well. Actually, it's going to be super interesting, actually. And I want to play something real quick for you, real quick for you. Check this out.
It does not matter what you write about when you're using the vocoder, 'cause everything just sounds so amazing. It does not matter what you write about when you're using the vocoder, 'cause everything just sounds so amazing. It does not matter what you write about when you're using the vocoder, 'cause everything just sounds so amazing. It
Yeah, I mean, uh, a video like this takes a huge amount of work because when you're doing comparisons like this, you have to do the same thing with all of them, right? So it's times five for everything I do. It's time five. Oh, and I want to be really thorough. So some of it I'm gonna have to skip, and some of it I want to keep in because there's just some things in here that really, is highlighted. By the way, what do you think about the lyrics? It does not matter what you write about uh, when you're using a vocoder because everything just sounds amazing. Yeah, that's good. Oh, we got accurate beats in the chat. Vocoders definitely a love-hate thing. Accurate, do you hate vocoders or do you like them? Because I love vocoders, all kinds of vocoders, always done. But if there's something I don't like, it's the T-Pain effect when you're doing auto tuning. I've never liked that. I've never liked auto tuning, and especially not in modern music where the pitches will go all over the place, and a lot of trap music does that. With some tracks, I can kind of disregard from it, but some tracks, it's so incredibly awful because there's too many notes going through it. And if the source material is a singer who can't keep a pitch from the beginning, it sounds really, really weird. I've never really liked that. Go on, got to go. Everyone, take care. iOS Tracon, I'll see you next time. I hope in the next stream. Thank you for joining up. I think I hate them. You like talk boxes though? Yeah, the talk box is pretty cool. Yeah. And I've been talking about this with Jesper Jones, which is he's an iOS musician, and the talkbox sound is something he's been trying to get for a very long time on iOS. But that's the problem, though. I mean, you need the tube in order to do the talkbox. So you would need some kind of a hardware device because a microphone just doesn't cut it. Otherwise, you would have to kind of emulate what the tube does some way on a pad. If anyone ever does a talkbox app, that would be really interesting. You could fake some stuff together doing some modular stuff with something like MyRack, but it's very very hard. Vocoder yes, autotune no. Rama says, "Hi Jacob, will you be testing Voxin for the vocoder video? I've never really gotten the hang of it." Okay, here's the thing, Rama. You're gonna be disappointed because Voxin is not on that list. Why? Because Voxin and Matrix vocoder are basically they have the same kind of audio engine, and Voxin is very much of an auto thing. It does stuff automatically. It reads your pitch. You can't really turn that off. Me, I want to be able to feed specific notes into it, and I don't want any auto going off inside there. And so I decided to remove Voxin from my list, and instead of doing that one, go with Matrix Vocoder because the sound is kind of close to it. You can get the Voxin sound. Virsin made those plugins kind of similarly, but even though Virsin made iVoxel and Matrix vocoder, those two sound completely different from one another. So actually, you could get both of them, and you would get something new with both. But Voxin, I removed from the list because of that fact. I just can't work with it because I can sing, but I can't sing well. And when you want something like Voxin, it does weird things with the pitch all the time. I just can't work with it. So I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Voxin I won't go through, but Matrix Vocoder is in there, VoiceSynth is in there, VoiceBot is in there, iVoxel is in there, and also Dear Voco. I don't want to sing by myself. I want to load speak samples and manipulate them. Best for this purpose, iVoxel is definitely something you want to look out for because it can load samples and you can record samples. They're called voxels, and you can play them back vocoded. Okay, you can play them on the keyboard. Right? So iVoxel, you want to check that one. iVoxel, iVoxel from Virsin, the same company who makes Voxin, and VoiceBot from Erik Siecht, VoiceBot or VBot. can also sample now with the new upgrade that he did. It's audio unit extension also, because iVoxel is interrupt audio only. If you want to do audio unit, you choose VoiceBot. Another one that can sample playback samples is Voice Synth, can also do that. So there's 3 vocoders that can do that. Bye, call me unique. Bye, call me. Maybe I'll just call you me. And thanks for joining up on the stream. And Sasha, that was you asking me. Sasha, that was you asking me. Did I say Sasha? Did I say? I don't know what I said anymore. Let's see here. How much time do I have left? I have about 15 minutes. Let's see. RTB says I can't sing to save my life, but that works with some stuff. Here's the thing. If I would turn off the vocoders for, I want my vocoder stuff to sound in a certain way, and for me to be able to do that, I have to sing false notes in order to get the vocoder sound to sound right. So if I would turn it off, you would hear some really false singing. And I might do a special episode about that, because what I am working on currently at the same time is my next album, which I don't know when it's gonna come out, but it is a vocoder album. All right, there's a red thread going through all of this. So if I do a documentary again, it's weird doing a documentary about yourself and your own album, but if I do one of those when I do release my album, I might do a special episode where I actually show people how falsely I am singing to get my sound just right. I hope. Oh, you got that one. No worries. I'll be part of the vocal. Okay, so I thought that I was answering Rama, but I was answering Sasha. Mac Mall, what do you think about the vocoder in SynthMaster 1? I don't think anything, because I don't use SynthMaster. It's one of those apps that has passed me by all the time. And from the beginning, it passed me by because I thought that it was a Rompler app, and I'm never interested in those. I'm interested in synthesizers, effects, and stuff where I can tweak my own things. I'm a sound designer and like making my own sounds, but it seems like SynthMaster actually has some synthesis in it, so I might end up looking into it. I might do. And now that you're telling me it has a vocoder, I have to look it up, but it's not gonna be on this list, because the work I've been doing for the research for this video has been going on for years, and it's too late in the game to bring in that thing. But I can always make a part 2, or I could make a specific video just about the vocoder in that one, if it is good enough, if I like it. So thanks for saying that, by the way. I'm gonna write that up to myself. I'm gonna send myself a little message. Check out SynthMaster vocoder. Let's see here. Check out SynthMaster vocoder. There we go. Sent it. Got it. Right. Alex Matthew, I put on some vocoder albums back in the day. Yeah, I mean, vocoders are they're very special to me, very warm to my heart. Anything that changes the human voice in some way, or any synthesis. You know, if you go back and check on my channel, you will see a lot of videos about making vocals with synthesizers, breaking down the Thor vocal patch, Nave voice synthesis, iVoxel videos, vocoder videos in general, bit crusher effects, weird effects that will make you sound like a robot. There's a lot of those videos. I'm super interested in that, and I'm also super interested in like Tuvan drone sounds, monk drone sounds, Tibetan monk voice sounds, and they're kind of similar, you know, like robot voices. It's been a huge thing for me my whole life. I'm absolutely just in love with this thing. That's why I bought it, because of Wavetable. SynthMaster 1 wavetable synth that allows importing of user wavetables too. Oh, okay. Samuel, how close is it to Nave? Because Nave has been the ultimate wavetable synth for me on iOS for a long time. Um, can I can I go as deep with that? Like, does it have modulation and stuff like that? Still think your ES1 jam on the floor with guitar amp and battery is one of the best. Yeah, maybe I should maybe I should find that one. I can find that. If anyone want to see that, let's see here. Um, hack attack ES one jam ES1. Let's see if I can find that. Yeah, I'll share it. Or maybe I can share it from the old video because the video on their one I have an intro, but let's see here, licorice and mint ES1. I think I can find it if I do that. Just find that video. No, I couldn't find it. So I'll just post this in here. If you want to see a weird video with me on the floor using a portable battery, that's the one to run an ES1 with weird glasses. I don't know what I was thinking in that video, but that was a long time ago, and yeah, it's the drum and bass jam. You have to, when you open up the video, you have to skip past me talking in the beginning, and then you see the jam if you want to see it. Um, I'm gonna start rounding. Oh, I have to round this up because I only have 5 minutes left before I need to go out and eat. So I want to thank you so much for joining me here at Jakob haQ Live, and I'm sorry for the spread out weird thing and the lost half an hour in the beginning when I was sitting and talking to myself. And I'll see you next time. As usual, I wish you a very everything's going wrong. As usual, I wish you a very productive week. Now go finger all of your stuff and have a lot of fun doing it. I had a lot of fun today, okay? So I want to thank you for that. That was great. Great. And I'm looking forward to finishing up on this video. It's already gone almost a month of me posting something on my regular main channel because of the fact that I had like a weekend, like 2 weeks off, and then I've been working for 2 weeks, so it's a month without me posting anything. So for people subscribing to that channel, it might look as if I've disappeared, but I haven't. I've been constantly working on it anyway. So thank you so much, and yeah, I mean you're lovely. All right, Pete, enjoy that high. I hope you can pass that stone, in due time. And everyone who has been joining up, you're awesome. I'll see you next time. Now watch me be an idiot searching for the stop the stream button. Mm. Yeah. Oh, there it is, the red one. Okay, I'm going now. Thanks everyone. Bye bye. I'm a, did it? Did that stop it? Oh, you have to press twice. Why does this always happen? Oh, I'm so